What's going on, guys? This is Blues FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video on my channel. In this video, I'll be going over the best fixtures, player choices, captaincy options, as well as transfer plans for the upcoming game weeks. I'll be including players in each of the budget, mid, and premium price brackets so you can make adjustments to your team accordingly. Now before we start, if you're new to this channel or have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button down below to receive weekly FPL videos full of beneficial tips and strategy for the new season. My goal is to hit 10 subscribers before the beginning of the Premier League season, and also if you want to compete against me throughout this season, make sure to join my fantasy league. The code is on the screen and also down below in the description. Now without further ado, let's get into the ultimate team selection guide for the 2020-21 FPL season. Now in the FPL community, we have a term for dependable teams that are almost guaranteed to score points against any opponent. These are called fixture-proof teams. Liverpool and Manchester City have been challenging for the title for the past few years. We can rely on Liverpool's outside backs as well as their wingers to consistently provide points. With Manchester City though, they have a blank game week and I would not recommend benching their players for game week 1. Their defense was struggling last year and they ended the season with more losses than Arsenal. Therefore, when bringing City players in, we should look at their attacking midfielders, wingers, and strikers. However, the downside of having fixture-proof teams is that they have some of the most expensive players in the whole of FPL. So we have to keep our budget for the rest of the team in mind when selecting these players. After the fixture-proof teams, we have the next tier of FPL teams, the premiums. These are teams that play well against good fixtures and usually have expensive players. They include Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United. Tottenham have a relatively easy start of fixtures that includes Everton, Newcastle, West Ham, Burnley, Brighton, and West Brom. Their defense was shaky last season, so I would recommend looking more at their attack or new signing Matt Doherty. Next up we have Chelsea. With their new signings, it may take some time before they have good chemistry. However, they also have many green fixtures, and their attacking players could provide many points at the start of the season. With Arsenal, they only have two good beginning fixtures of Fulham and West Ham. If you're looking at their players, keep in mind that you should most likely transfer them out early. And finally, Manchester United. They have a blank game week 1, so we should either bench a player from their team or don't start with them at all. They do have great fixtures however, so if you are planning to go without them, then you should have a plan in mind to bring them in as soon as possible. Last on the fixture tier list, I have the budget teams. These include teams that have low priced players but may provide a decent amount of points based on their good fixtures. Wolves are a defensively reliable team based on their last 2 seasons in the Premier League. After Manchester City in game week 2, they have 5 green fixtures in a row. The next team, Southampton, ended their season on good form. After a terrible start, the Saints started to use a high press and still kept a solid defense and a reliable attack. They do start the season on some of the best fixtures out of all the Premier League teams, and their players in every single position should be considered. Crystal Palace do not have good beginning fixtures. However, they acquired some youth talents in the summer transfer window that are cheaply priced and may start. After game week 4, they have a large number of green fixtures. I would recommend having one of their 4.0 defenders on the bench to save some budget for premium assets and the starting lineup. Lastly, we have Fulham. They did not have a reliable defense in the championship and may end up being last year's Norwich. However, if there's one thing Norwich were providing at the beginning of the season was goals. Almost everyone had a pookie party in their beginning game weeks. I have a feeling that Alexander Mitrovic may do the same thing, being the championship's top goal scorer last season. Now let's move on to the best players in each position and price bracket. Starting with the goalkeepers, we have the premium options that include Pope, Patricio, Guaita, and Ramsdale. I personally think that we should not look at spending a lot of money in this position. Therefore, I believe that out of the premiums, Ramsdale is the best choice because he covers a reliable Sheffield defense, has good fixtures, and has a good chance of getting save points each week. In the mid category, we have the likes of Ryan, McCarthy, Martinez, and Johnstone. Ryan and McCarthy are perfect goalkeepers to rotate throughout the first 9 game weeks. However, due to the stress of having to choose which goalie to play and not being correct a lot of the time, I recommend going with one goalkeeper to start. Martinez may be a solid pick, however his starting position is in doubt. Johnstone is a differential pick and is only there due to West Brom's decent fixtures. Lastly, in the budget bracket, we have Nyland, Button, and Peacock Farrell. Nyland may start for Aston Villa, however they're targeting the likes of Romero for Manchester United, and Heaton may still come back from injury before the start of the season. Button and Peacock Farrell, on the other hand, are both backup options on teams that only have 2 FPL goalkeepers. Therefore, if the starters get injured, they'll be the backup and play. Now, we move on to the defense. In the premium options, we have the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Doherty, and Tierney. The Liverpool fullbacks are always reliable and an attacking threat. Both Doherty and Tierney may score a lot of points early in the season. I would recommend going with either 1 or 2 of these players. After that, in the mid-bracket, we have Egan, Reece James, Vinagre, and Taylor. Players such as Saliba, Kyle Walker-Peters, and Lamptey all deserve to be looked at as well. Most teams should include many of the cheaper options because they are likely to start and save budget for other positions. Lastly, we have the budget players with Ferguson, Mitchell, and Johnson. Currently, Ferguson is injured. However, if you're looking to hold on to him for a few game weeks until he returns, he may be a great FPL option as a possible starter. If you're looking at playing the 4.0 option, Mitchell and Johnson may be decent choices for any team. We move on to the midfielders who tend to score the most points in FPL. The premium options include Salah, Aubameyang, De Bruyne, and Son, but also Bruno Fernandes after him and KDB's blank game week. These players are crucial for every team, and in most game weeks provide a majority of the points scored. In the mid-price bracket, we have the likes of Pulisic, Ziyech, Greenwood, and Foden. These players should be used to save on some cash instead of having many premium midfielders. Pulisic and Ziyech, however, are still injured, so make sure you know the team news before you go with them into the Game Week 1 deadline. Once again, the Manchester duo have a blank game week and could be benched or brought in for Game Week 2. Lastly, in the budget category, there's St. Maximin, Souček, Gordon, and Anguissa. There aren't many options that will score a lot of points in this bracket, and therefore it's difficult on deciding which players to get in as your 4th or 5th man in midfield. Souček also came in contact with someone who had COVID-19, so once again, press conferences and team news will be important before the deadline. Finally, we have the forwards. In the premium category, we have Kane, Werner, Martial, and Ings. I would recommend having at least one premium striker in your team, so you can always switch the striker that's in good form or downgrade to another player. In the mid-bracket, I think Mitrovic is the best choice as he's nailed on and takes penalties. The others, however, may not start and therefore are risks. If you're planning to get a 4.5 million forward and benching him every game week, I would recommend Vaclav, as he is the lowest owned and will not receive a price drop. However, if Ryan Brewster goes out on loan to a smaller club like Sheffield, I see him as a potential bargain at the lowest starting price. To end off Game Week 1, we need to select a captain. Here are the 3 of the best options in this game week. Mo Salah plays Leeds, and Liverpool may crush them, as this will be their first Premier League game in 16 years. With Aubameyang, he plays Fulham, who were shaky at the back last season, and may also be in for an unpleasant welcome to the league. Lastly, Timo Werner plays Brighton, with the goal machine already scoring against them in preseason and recently scoring against Spain in the Nations League. He is a player to watch out for this season, and if he gets on good form, he may have a similar goal streak to Jamie Vardy's last season. We have to create a transfer plan for these early game weeks, as due to the blank Game Week 1 for City and United players, we'll have to either bench them or bring them in straight away. I'm looking to use my free transfer and even take a hit in Game Week 2 to bring in either Martial, Fernandes, or Greenwood. In Game Week 3, I may take a player out like Aubameyang or Mo Salah to get the likes of Kevin De Bruyne or Sterling. So guys, that's going to wrap up the video. What does your team look like going into Game Week 1? I will be answering every comment and providing some tips, so make sure you comment down below right now. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for my final Game Week 1 team and my Premier League table prediction. On that note, it's been Blues FPL, and see you in the next video.